Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Guy with a Plant. In today's episode, I'll be featuring some of the silvery plants that I have in my collection. The first plant I'm going to show you is the Philodendron Silver Matter. This is in fact the first time I've heard of such a plant. I mean, I know there is the Philodendron Silver Sword, which is the Hastadum, but this is slightly different. They have similar coloration, very bluish silver leaves, but I think the shape of the leaves is slightly different, is smaller. And also the growth pattern of this plant is more like a trailing plant. In fact, it's like a pothos, but the stems are pretty thick. So I don't think you can let it trail for too much because it will probably break the stem. So this is most likely some kind of cultivar of the silver sword. The seller told me this is actually an import from Japan. To be honest, I wasn't really a fan of the silver sword because I'm just not drawn to it. But when I see this online and how full this plant is with its beautiful metallic sheen, I just got to have one. And yeah, I didn't regret getting it because it's really very beautiful. Look at the leaves. At certain angle, you can even see a bluish tinge to the coloration. And overall, it gives it a very shimmery and metallic effect to the plant. It's really beautiful. So this is the Philodendron Silver Matter, one of my favorite silvery plants. The next plant is Hoya. This is Hoya Croniana Super Silver. I'm not sure whether is it the same as the Super Eskimo, but check out the amount of silver in this plant. Almost all the leaves are silver with splashes of green, which makes it really attractive. This was one of the wish list Hoya that I've been wanting to get, other than the Wilbur Graves. So yeah, when I finally got it, I'm really happy with this because this is such a large specimen. This is a Hoya, so it wants bright light. So that is what it gets. But no direct sun because for my condition, my sun here is really harsh. It will burn these delicate leaves. But I think it may benefit from maybe 1 or 2 hours of gentle morning sun. I can try to do that, but I must remember to bring it in. If not, they will burn. Yeah, like most Hoyas, they are very drought tolerant, so do not overwater this. Yeah, in fact, I think I water this every 10 days and it is doing okay. In fact, I think if you stress it by, holding back water, I heard you can get it to flower because you'll be stressed up and you'll flower. So far, this has not given me any flowers yet. So water it when you see that the leaves are a little bit wrinkly or a little bit soft to touch. Then it's time to water this. I do not have any pest issues, but I know Hoyas are prone to mini bugs, so I will keep an eye on this. Yeah. Meanwhile, I just want to let you enjoy these beautiful leaves of this Hoya Croniana Super Silver. Okay, the next one is a small collection of Scindapsus pictus. There are three varieties here. So the first one I'm going to show you is the Scindapsus pictus exotica, which I recently featured this in my plant spotlight episode, as well as a video on the variegated house plants. So I'm not going to elaborate much more, but just to show you on its growth. I think it has grown again since, and it's starting to trail, which is really nice. And there's a lot of new growth as well. Look at the new leaves. This one is still really soft. Yeah, so a lot of growth. So looking very full and bushy. The next Scindapsus is the Scindapsus pictus silver hero. This is what was sold to me as, and what I really like about this is very subtle patterns and veins on the leaves. Unlike the Exotica, which is really loud, this has a very subtle beauty and very nice silvery sheen to it. And just like the Philodendron silver matter, it has a certain bluish tinge to it when the light hits it in a certain way. This is still a cutting, a rooted cutting. Yeah, and it's curling up now, so I think it probably needs a drink of water, which I will give it after this. Okay, the last Scindapsus here is the Scindapsus pictus silver cloud. This is also a cutting, but check out the size of the leaves. They are huge compared to the silver hero, right? And there is this new growth that is happening here, which I'm really excited. Yeah, and the patterns on the leaf is really beautiful. Kind of reminds me of a watercolor painting. The patterns is not as contrasting as the Exotica, but it's definitely very elegant looking. I can't wait for this to grow up a little bit more so that I can start to propagate this and have more of this beauty. The fourth silvery plant that I have is an anthurium. This is Anthurium Doriaki Silver. The silvery patterns on the leaves of this plant is caused by a variegation that is called the blister or reflective variegation. If you refer to my previous video on variegated houseplants, this is what I had to say about blister variegation. Okay, the third type of variegation is the blister or the reflective variegation. In this type of variegation, there are tiny air pockets that's between the layers of the leaf, between the upper unpigmented layer as well as the lower pigmented layer. So when the light hits the transparent air pockets, it will give a very silvery appearance, resulting in this type of variegation. Anthuriums, they like to be kept on the moist side, but again not soaking wet. So usually what I like to do is I'll put a layer of sphagnum moss on the top of the potting medium so as to retain some moisture, as well as to keep the humidity up a little. I've not done so for this yet, so yeah, it's going to be one of my to-do lists. Yeah, for watering, I will tend to water this more frequently compared to philodendrons, but of course you can make sure that your potting medium is really well draining. They will really appreciate that. And for light, I tend to keep them on the medium side because especially those dark velvet leaves and anthuriums, they will appreciate that. But for this type with more silvery variegations, I'll tend to give it a little bit slightly brighter on the brighter side. So yeah, new leaves, they come out really light and then they will turn into this mature into this dark green color with this striking silver variegation. So this is the Anthurium Doriaki Silver, which I'm totally obsessed with at the moment. Okay, the last silver plant I'm going to show you is my Philodendron tianum, or the brandy. This particular specimen has really big leaves, which I am crazy about. But when it arrived, it had these two really huge leaves at the bottom, but I think due to the acclimatization process, they turn yellow and drop off. So, but yeah, there is this new leaf that unfurled under my care, still pretty small compared to the rest. But there is this another baby that is happening here. That's exciting. And yeah, okay, it's not sitting in sphagnum moss. In fact, it has a proper aeroid potting medium. I just used the moss as a top dressing. Also, the seller actually gave it a pole, kind of a pole, but I think this is like a plastic casing, a wire casing for the plant to grow up. So what I did was I actually added some more sphagnum moss so that I can encourage more aerial roots to grow so that it can grow up taller and give me even bigger leaves. And yeah, but I do not know how to, am I going to, you know, add on to this when the plant is growing even taller. The sphagnum moss get misted every day, so I can encourage more aerial roots growth. I water this when the top 1 or 2 inches of the potting medium is dry. I don't let it dry out totally, and it seems to appreciate that. That could be around between 7 to 10 days under my conditions. So this is the Philodendron tianum. So that's all for the video today. Thank you for watching. If you have any of these plants, I would appreciate it if you can just put it in the comment section and let me know how do you take care of them and what are some of the tips that you may have. And also, if you have other silvery plants, do let me know as well if you want me to take a look at them. That means I can buy more plants. Yeah, meanwhile, take care and be safe. If you like my contents, I hope you can subscribe to my channel. I will see you again in my next video. Bye.